Welcome to the podcast, Living by Oak Values. With you today are your host, Overlord Robert, celebrated for his benevolence, and Gary, the authentic, an adventurous father, life coach, and superior mailman, where we dive deep and share meaningful stories and discuss the values that help shape our lives. We will explore how we use these values to guide us through life, shaping our decisions and our relationship, and help with raising our children. We are embracing the journey of personal growth, navigating our own paths, and we are committed to living by these values and passing them on to our children. We are thrilled to have you here today and can't wait to share our latest episode. Whether you're a long-time listener or now discovering us, welcome. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the comments below and check us out on northmancoaching.com. You're welcome to join our community, Northman Legacy Crew, and let us know what topics you're most interested in hearing about. Sign up with your email for behind-the-scenes sneak peeks and exciting updates. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Happy listening. This week's episode, Gary and I will be discussing authenticity and what it's like to live your true self. Anyone who knows Gary knows that this value is close to his heart. A quote that I came across. This week, Gary and I will be discussing authenticity and what it's like to live as your true self. Anyone who knows Gary knows that this is his value and it is close to his heart. A quote that I came across was from Brene Brown. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Gary, can you share a pivotal moment in your life when you realized the importance of being authentic?
Rob, I would love to share the pivotal moment, but I could tell you the pivotal moment, but I'll tell you how it started. So I tried for so long to be somebody else, to be somebody cooler or better than me. I felt like I was not a fun person. Like my true authentic person self was not someone that anybody would want to really hang around. I always tried to be, somebody who was, cooler, smarter, more fun. Even after my divorce, I was still trying to be somebody else. And I went on several dates and nothing ever panned out. And I started thinking that maybe it's because I was telling these stories, like, making up these crazy, cool stories that were not real. Then after those few failed relationships, I started doing this men's work and I started this journey of self-development. I discovered these values and I started living every single value that we have in the Oak Value deck so that I could better understand the meaning behind them. So I lived every one to better understand it because I feel like I couldn't talk about these values if I didn't really know them. And then I realized after doing all these that being authentic was a chance for me to be me. And the thoughts in my head when I was like, wait, I can be me. I didn't have to tell a story anymore or make up a lie or remember the last lie I told so that I wouldn't get busted on this lie. So I just had to be me and that was it. And looking back on that, it kind of upsets me, but surprises me also that it took me 40 something years to become authentic. Because being authentic is the easiest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
So what are some challenges that you faced being authentic?
I think my biggest challenge was self-acceptance because I wasn't okay with who I was. But in my head, I had made up the story that you were not okay with who I was. So therefore, for you to want to be friends with me or work with me or do whatever, that I had to come up with this story of how I was so cool or so fun. And I had to act that story out for a while until it became too much. And then I would get caught up in my lies and I would, fumble all over myself. So that was probably my biggest setback was hands down self-acceptance. I could not accept me for who I was. And plus I just gotten divorced and I'd been through, a few girlfriends after my divorce. It didn't work out. So how could I accept myself? I couldn't keep my wife. I couldn't keep these girlfriends. So how could I accept myself for who I am? But I was looking for that acceptance of the lies, of the stories. And I just realized that if I could just accept me for who I am and accept my failed marriage, accept my failed relationships, and learn and grow from those, then it would be better. And it is far better.
So how did you find this value? You didn't just magically pull it off the internet. How did you find it?
Well, I did pull off the internet, honestly, but I found it. Well, I started living it. I found it to be mine. I think that it was actually, I'll tell you right now, the pivotal moment. It was thinking back to when I was telling a story to my ex-wife when we were still married, and she called me out on something, And I was like, wow, busted. And then I started thinking like, I need to get my lies better, my stories better. And then I thought about that, and I realized that if I just was me, then I wouldn't have to tell these stories. That is when I found or decided that this was going to be my value. My number one value was that fact that I didn't want to tell stories anymore. I want everyone in my life to know who I am, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. I'm not going to air all my laundry, my dirty laundry or whatever, but I want everyone in my life to know who I am.
And is there something in your life that inspires you to stay authentic? Why do you keep doing this?
Well, I'll tell you right now. So, it inspires me. My daughter inspires me for everything I do. That's good. She's my inspiration. But the number one reason why I want to be authentic is because I'm too tired to be telling lies, to be telling a story and remembering the story I told you as I tell the next person, so that if the two of you guys start talking, there's no contradiction in what I said.
Mm.
It's too much work to keep going with lies or just not being who you are. And then you really want to go deeper. If I can't be authentic, then how can you trust me?
Mm.
So all of my relationships will have in life, whether they're platonic or romantic or work, they'll never be good relationships because they're built on lies. They're built on non-truths. And you get to a point, if you tell enough stories, and you don't know who you even are. That
So,
is my inspiration to be authentic.
so is there something you practice to keep yourself authentic? I mean, is there a
Mhm.
habit you do daily?
Nope.
Oh.
There is no habit. No, there's no practice really. I mean, I had to accept who I was. And so I could tell you a story about who I am. I'm a mailman. I am a father of one amazing daughter. I am an adventure seeker. Now, if that doesn't sit with you, okay, if you're like, yeah, this guy's a little too adventurous and I don't want to hang out with this guy, then that's fine. That's who I am. And if you don't want to be a part of my life, then that's fine. There's no problem. But I'm not going to tell a story to keep you in my life.
So how do you ensure that you're being authentic in your interactions with other people? Like, how do you make sure you're not going to tell somebody make yourself look better than you are?
I don't want to look better than I already am.
Mm.
I did back in the day, but I'm at that point in my life where I said, I just want to be me. And if that's not good enough for you, then I'll see you later, or I won't see you later.
Mm.
But as far as, making sure that I'm not, pumping up my story, it's very easy to be honest because you don't have to think of anything.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, as I almost said, it's easier because I don't have to lie, but actually, sometimes telling a story is easier than being honest because you can make the story amazing when my life can be kind of boring. I mean, I am an adventure seeker. I love to go surfing and kayaking and hiking and mountain climbing and whatever else. But there's days where I will sit on my couch all day long. I will read 2, 3 books. I'll go numb scrolling through Facebook or TikTok or whatever. There's days I'm lazy. But overall, I am an adventure seeker, and if that's not what you want in your life, then whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I am.
So you said you are authentic with your family and friends and such. And
Hmm.
I have had to end some relationships because I had to be authentic with them and they didn't like how I was with them. How has being authentic affected your relationships with your family, colleagues, or friends?
Well, I think that the people that I had in my life before I was authentic, they're gone. We just gone our separate ways, or they weren't happy. They didn't like who I was or pretended to be, and I don't know, we just lost touch. So I think that the people in my life now, I have my family. I talk to my parents every day. I have plenty of guys from the group that I talk to, and so I think being authentic, like I know being authentic has created deeper connections.
Mhm.
Like, for instance, you and I, we could talk about anything. We don't hold back on anything.
Mm.
And I feel like everybody I talk to is, I mean, I can judge character pretty well. So if it's somebody I work with, I won't go through everything, but I can be more honest, and they can be honest with me, or they have the opportunity to be honest with me. Whether they choose that or not, that's on them.
Do you have an instance in your life where your authenticity positively influenced somebody else or they mimicked your authenticity? And
For
yeah.
if somebody else is mimicking my authenticity, then I don't feel like they're being authentic. As far as somebody that I inspired, I go back again and say my daughter, I've inspired her. I think that she does her best to tell it like it is. I mean, she's a kid, so she has her moments and her stories can be out there. And I know they're not 100% authentic, but I know when she talks to me that she's honest and she's being authentic because I am being that with her.
Mm.
I also feel like even in romantic relationships, my last relationship I was in we had a very deep connection. And I feel like that was because, yeah, that's because I was authentic. And it was actually my first long-term relationship where I was me.
Mm.
Because I was authentic, we had deeper conversations and we had deeper, more connecting moments. So
Yeah.
it was definitely just a better overall relationship because of authenticity.
To our listeners out there, what advice would you give somebody struggling to find their authentic self? I mean, because that's what we're talking about is
To struggle to find your authentic self. I think the real thing is the struggle to accept your authentic self. So I would tell people that are struggling, to look in the mirror and accept themselves for who they are. People love them. People want them in their lives, but they want them for who they are. So if you're not being authentic, look in the mirror and tell yourself the truth, the honest to God truth. Who are you? What do you do? And what have you? And then think about the stories you've been telling people, and just stop. It sounds really easy because it is that easy. I don't know why it took 40 years for me to figure this out. Just stop and be you. Be proud of who you are. People will love you for who you are, and if they don't, then they don't belong in your life.
that's awesome. And to all the listeners out there, if you want help starting your journey to more authentic life, just leave us a comment below or email us, Gary@northmancoaching.com.
Are you looking for a little boost in motivation and self-improvement? Check out our Oak Value Cards. Empower yourself with our thoughtful collection of motivational and insightful core value cards. Boost your confidence, find peace, and nurture self-love. These cards are perfect for personal growth or even as a thoughtful gift. Remember, every small step you take towards personal growth is a step towards a happier and more fulfilling life. Start your journey now with our Oak Value Cards. Enter promo code AUTHENTICITY for 20% off of your purchase.
Gary, you have shared with me before, and maybe you can share with the listeners that there's a story that has inspired you the most to live your authentic life.
Yes, absolutely. So I am a baseball fan, as you know. To put a baseball spin on this, you can go to a sporting goods store and buy a baseball. And that baseball is going to be worth a couple of bucks. Whatever you pay for it, it's probably what it's worth. But if you go to a Major League Baseball game and you catch a foul ball or get your hands on any ball that was in play during that game, and then go get an autograph from one of the players or the player that hit that ball or didn't catch that ball or whatever, how much is that ball worth now? Probably a lot of money because it's an authentic game ball with an authentic autograph. That's how I want to be. I want to be authentic. I want to be the authentic, not the baseball, but I want to be the authentic guy. I want to be the authentic autograph. That's who I want to be because it has a lot of value. The guy that I was before discovering this value was not authentic, and he did not have a lot of value. So I want that value in my life.
And if you would like to go deeper on this topic, reach out to us, Gary at Northman Coaching or Robert at Northman Coaching for your free consultation call. And folks, that's the wrap on today's episode. And of course, thank you all for listening. We're glad that you could join us. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Living by Oak Values. And if you feel generous, leave us a review. It really helps us out and keeps this conversation going. For more updates and exclusive content, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or visit us at our website, northmancoaching.com. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode that you don't want to miss. Until then, keep discussing your values, embracing the journey, take care, and stay authentic.